Well, the Black Business Federation is gearing up for a fight over National Treasury's new draft procurement rules. They say the preferential public procurement framework guidelines will leave black business owners at a disadvantage when bidding for government tenders. We're now joined by the Federation's president, Mr. Malusi Zondi. Mr. Zondi, thank you for your time and good morning to you. Let's talk about this framework particularly and how it disadvantages black businesses in your opinion. Why do you feel like it's not inclusive?
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Greetings to you and the viewers. Firstly, we feel as Black Business Federation that it's so unfair for certain organizations to challenge things that are beneficial to the society. Simply because there was nothing wrong with the preferential policy, because that policy was amended after 2017 to accommodate the designated groups and also to make sure that the local people do benefit. As you can understand, that the apartheid regime affected our societies. Black people were marginalized. They still remain marginalized. So the effort of Treasury was to make sure that there is practical participation of black businesses, of youth, of women, and people living with disabilities. So we cannot afford to just leave the status quo unchallenged when there are people who want to serve their selfish interest, who don't want the society to benefit at large.
Right. We understand that you're also taking this matter forward. You have sought legal advice regarding, this particular issue that you have, and also just taking on a more legal challenge route. What case are you bringing forward? What's your argument in the case?
Our argument is very simple. We have mobilized our team, our legal team, and we are still in contact with them. We are going to lay charges against Treasury, and we also want to challenge the Constitutional Court. The charges are very easy. We feel that Treasury has to know their story. We also feel that the Constitutional Court cannot supersede. Sometimes you say decisions are made by the cabinet. The society, especially black businesses in their major numbers, which we represent, they are highly confused. Simply because you don't understand who has powers now. Either we are led by our government or the Constitutional Court. Now we want as business people for justice to be served. They speak of 80-20, 90-10, BEE. Within those BEE frameworks, we understand also that it does not serve the majority's interest because everyone is equal. But I can guarantee you now, the means of productions are not owned by black people. Therefore, the competition, the pricing will never, ever accommodate black African businesses in particular, simply because they don't own any means of production. They don't detect prices. That's why we had the preferential policy, which was very clear that it has to accommodate people, and it does not relate only on prices, but on the local content, on designated groups, for us to eliminate the triple challenges. South Africa currently doesn't need any threats, especially as we ourselves. The president has mentioned that government doesn't create jobs, it's the private sector. Now, the private sector will detect terms. If we don't fight this, unfortunately, black people will never see themselves progressing in business. That's why we are going to challenge this thing. Once we see black people at least creating job opportunities for the society and also welcoming SMMEs. They said previously, small businesses are big businesses. And we expect black people to also create jobs for themselves as well.
Speaking of, small businesses, the marginalized, we're talking here of black women who own these small businesses, youth who own these businesses. And you've just explained earlier on that there's so much red tape already around them to, of course, access means of production. What is the impact do you foresee affecting, obviously, these business, of course, from this preferential public procurement framework guideline?
The challenge in South Africa, there are no monitoring bodies. We intend as the Black Business Federation to also monitor all of these things. We have always questioned a provincial government because they're the ones giving businesses to our people, to either white, black, or Indian, or colored. But I can tell you now, when you go to municipalities, when you go to supply chain, the designated groups, the women in particular, you will find it's just a red tape, it's just mentioned. But when you question how many young women have been empowered, it's a question mark. No one will declare because there is no one monitoring these things, because they detect terms. Therefore, it is very painful that South Africa of today don't want to create opportunities for women, for people living with disability. And now the challenge is when you go to private sector, you will find that before you even reach their gates, they've got a big board telling you that you are going to be prosecuted. This is a private area. You are not allowed to even question what are the opportunities of supply chain. Can I clean for yourself, for you as a company? Can I have security guards? They are just telling you, unfortunately, we have our own people. So therefore, there is no change in South Africa if we don't challenge this as a Black Business Federation. Women remain marginalized. Women and youth remain marginalized. The question of how many young people have benefited to the mainstream economy and the opportunities that have been provided by government and many other opportunities that are coming through economic recovery plans. We are affected by COVID-19. We are trying to recreate our economy, but through that, there is suppression of our Black businesses.
We'll have to leave it there. Thank you so much for joining us. Black Business Federation President, that's Malusi Zondi.